my best friend, Andre, for his senior speech.
Hi, I'm Andre, and I run a lot. 1 month ago, I learned I have a brother. His name is Nathan Becker. We do a lot of push-ups and cook dinner together and keep each other accountable when we're thinking too much. I am happy. Here's the story that got me here. First grade. I am sent to the principal's office for watching a boy dunk his head in a toilet. Minutes later, a girl in my class releases a very loud fart. Unfortunately, I'm the only one who finds this funny, and I am sent to the principal's office again. I moved from Santa Rosa to Sacramento in second grade. There I meet my first best friend, Marcus. He teaches me how to play video games, a skill I thought invaluable at the time. He and I become inseparable, and when I moved from Sacramento to Kelseyville in the third grade, I cry myself to sleep for 2 weeks, fearing I have no one. I become very shy, only speaking when spoken to and avoiding unnecessary confrontation. My only driving purpose in life is to get good grades and please my parents. Around this time, I begin to wake up at night to my father yelling and my mother crying. I am confused by this, and I begin to develop distrust and fear towards my father. After years of rigorous studying at Riviera Elementary School, I begin to believe that intelligence is only consistency. Teachers begin to praise me for my intellectual capabilities when really, I'm the only one turning in my homework. At the beginning of middle school, I feel a need to be the best at everything I do, which becomes very hard when I join the track team. I am by far the slowest one on the team, even when sprinting warm-up laps in hopes of beating someone. In seventh grade, my running performances improve, and in turn, my confidence begins to rise. I expand my humble friend group of 2 to a social powerhouse of 5 and begin to find joy in riding. On the last day of seventh grade, my dad shows up to pick me up from school. I have not seen him in over a year, but he insists that I get in his car with him and a woman I've never seen before. I learned that he has full custody over me for the entire summer, and I will only be able to see my mom on the weekends. After 2 weeks of house switching, I decide to act purely in my own self-interest. When the time comes for me to get out of my mom's car and into my dad's, I refuse to get out. My dad calls the cops on my mom and me, but after continued resistance, they let us go back home. On the ride back, I feel very triumphant. After years of fearing and loathing my father for the pain he's caused my mom, I have finally won. I am watching TV on my couch when my mom runs out of her room and tells me to turn off the lights and close the blinds. Minutes later, police are pounding on our door demanding that we open up. My mom and I sit in her bedroom crying and feeling very small. My transition from Mountain Vista Middle School to Kelseyville High School is anticlimactic. I come to realize that I'm not like the friends I thought so dearly of only 3 months prior. During sophomore year, I developed my first serious crush. So serious that during a pep band game, I played George Michael's Careless Whisper to her on my saxophone, thinking she'll be impressed. Things don't work out in the end. Around this time, I become very edgy. I am frustrated by the lack of challenge in my high school, and I wonder if I will become someone who blames my lack of progress on others rather than taking ownership of my own lack of initiative. After a running camp at Lake Tahoe with the SA cross country team, I decide to apply to Sonoma Academy, turning my world on its head. The junior retreat is a very weird experience for me. I am thrown into my first cosmic date with no explanation, and my partner doesn't make things any easier for me. After 3 minutes of the suggested 15 to 20, she begins to look over her shoulder over and over again, asking, "Nichelle, is it time to go back yet?" I am utterly defeated. Hours later, I find myself in a big circle of boys, and I am asked a very big question. Where is my happy place? I am confused, but even more confused when Reese Strongberg says, "A giant golden castle floating in the sky." I become aware that I am black at SA. I was raised by a white mother and have gone to predominantly white public schools my entire life, but I have never felt that I was different, except on paper. This changed at SA. People constantly want to touch my hair, and some make black jokes at my own expense to break the ice with me. During a run at Howarth Park, I am called a nigger for the first time. I was running up a trail and I passed a bench where one was sitting. I didn't hear the beginning of her sentence, but in passing I hear, "If you do that again, you little nigger." I freeze, not sure what I should do. We have a 2-second stare-off, and I decide to keep running and laugh it off later. I had always expected this day would come, but I didn't expect it would happen under such strange circumstances. After that run, I realized what living in a bubble really means. I will be a black man living in this country sooner than I realize, and I am scared that laughter won't always be my first instinct to cope with fear and hate. The wealth gap at the school is also very apparent. Last year, a friend of mine told me, "My parents are making me go to Spain for a few weeks because my lowest grade is in Spanish." I replied, "Oh." Prior to SA, I thought rich people only existed in movies and in the news. Here, I go to my friends' houses and count how many duplicates of my house could fit into theirs. I am intimidated by heated pools and Mercedes-built garages. I am intimidated by in-home theaters, arcade rooms, and white grand pianos. I am scared to tell others where I live because I don't want to be judged. But in reality, none of this matters. Thinking about myself in relationship to others is a waste of time. Thinking only causes confusion, frustration, and bitterness. My goal is to stop thinking and only do. Learning to clear my brain of words and focus on things that require action has been hard. The other day I heard Marco say, "You don't have to write if you don't want to, but you can't do anything else." This also applies to doing. When you are tired of doing, do nothing. Let your mind recover. I am sad when I hear my classmates rant about their fear of life. Not knowing is a good thing. We are all in a place of privilege, and we need to stop worrying and instead use our energy on things that matter, like relationships and happiness and love. In 1995, Tupac dropped his best-selling album, Me Against the World, a message to the woman who always puts me first and her second. Ain't a woman alive that can take my mama's place, and there's no way I can pay you back, but my plan is to show you I understand. You are appreciated. Thank you.